This is a very nice time of the year. While I'm recording this video during Navratri time, tomorrow is Saraswati Puja, and then you have Ayudha Puja, then you have Vijayadashmi. This is all interesting. But pretty soon, not too far, pretty soon, one of the biggest festivals in our way of life comes around, and that is Deepavali. And some people refer to that in short form, Diwali. Right? So it's one of the fun festivals, right? Because people light diyas, lamps, and keep it all around the house and all that, decorate the house with lights. And then it's a 3-day celebration. We have what called Narakata Chaturdashi on the 14th day, then Amavasya people do Lakshmi Puja, and then we have Bali Padyami. And all those stories are there and meaning and all that. I don't want to get into that today because we are focusing on the symbolism part. So what is in Diwali? If I say pick one thing, just pick one thing that represents celebration of Diwali. The very name says Deepavali, Deepa, lamp, light, right? So if you ask most people, if you say, okay, nice, so what does this represent for you? They'll say, oh, well, light represents knowledge, jnana, and knowledge, getting rid of ignorance in the world. So people becoming knowledgeable, getting rid of ignorance, that's what this represents. At a shallow level, that's not a bad description. That is true. But we want to delve a little bit deeper into this symbol and see what exactly does it mean. For example, light, there are many different ways of creating light, right? Like if I look all around me in this studio, I see different types of lights, right? So for Diwali, can I just take lights like this and just stick it? Does that make it Diwali? If all you're looking for some light, yeah, sure, it'll serve the purpose. But if you're looking for a spiritual experience in this celebration, you're looking for something that elevates you to a higher level. Just stringing some lights outside your house is not going to do it, right? We need to go a little bit deeper into the actual symbol that represents Deepavali. And that is this thing that is called, in most words, they call it Diya. Different languages, they call different things. Like in my mother tongue, it's called Anate, right? But different words, but it's the same. All of you know what I'm referring to, I think. So if you look at a Diya, what does it have? Well, what are the different components? To start with, the Diya itself is made out of mud. Remember how they make it. They take clay, they mix it up, mixed with water, clay and water mixed up, formed into this shape, right? And then they stick it in a furnace, heat it, the water evaporates, and what you have left is this clay thing in which you can light a lamp. We'll talk about that also, the way it is made and so on, right? But one interesting thing about a diya is that it's sort of circular cup kind of thing, but one end has a pointy edge. That thing, right? So what we do is we take a wick made of cotton and put it in there, and we put ghee or oil, something that is will help it burn. And then some of the wick will be extending outside the diya. You cannot put the whole wick in the diya and light it. You cannot do that. So some of it is extending outside. So you light it. You light the end of the wick. And it'll keep burning for a long time, right? It'll give light for a long time. So question is, what do you mean long time? Like, what is the dependent on? Well, it's dependent on two things. If you have a long wick, you can have a very long wick, right? But no oil or no ghee. You light that, in no time at all, and then there's no light. On the other hand, you have a very short wick, barely coming out, right, of the diya, but you have a lot of oil. Okay. That doesn't give you a good lamp either. So you need a balance. You need a balance between the length of the wick, because most of the wick is in the oil inside the diya, most of it. Okay. That's where it is absorbed. That's where it absorbs the oil, let's say oil, it absorbs the oil, and the capillary action will push that oil to the tip. And what actually burns, giving you this lamp, the light, that gives you the light actually, not the lamp, the light, is a combination of the wick and the oil burning, right? This, I think all of us know this. I don't think there's anything, I'm not telling you anything new. But the thing is, what does it all mean? Like, if symbolically, what does it mean? Like I said, I can put a bunch of diyas outside my house, and somebody says, all neighbors say, hey, what are you doing? And says, oh, I'm celebrating Diwali. So what does that mean? Oh, light, getting rid of darkness, knowledge, getting rid of ignorance. So they say, hey, great, man, good luck and all that. And life goes on, right? But it cannot become a spiritual experience for me unless I contemplate on the symbolism of the diya itself. So let's start with the clay diya. So how was that made? Mixing clay. So there's a mixture of water and mud, clay, water, matter is mixed. Then it is formed into a shape, right? Now, somebody is shaping it, right? The guy, the potter, or the guy who's making it, he'll shape it into that form. And then he'll stick it into heat. So that heat will evaporate all the, otherwise it is still soft. You cannot light a lamp, right? So the water part has to go away. The water part goes away and it hardens the matter, into which I can pour oil and the wick can light it and so on. But in between these particles of clay, there is space, right? There's another thing. For that lamp to burn, you also need oxygen. Like, you can have all of these things, you can light it, but you deny oxygen, it cannot burn. So from the outside, which we cannot see, it needs the space in which it can glow or burn. And it also, from the air, from the environment, it will absorb oxygen. So these are the things that are necessary, right? So if I look at myself, right? So how do I function? I function because of this physical body. Because if I don't have a body, Um, there's nothing I can do, right? So the thing is, what is the body made up of? The well, the five elements. The physical body is made up of the five elements. What are they? Matter, liquid water, like blood and all. There's matter, solid matter. There is water. There is heat. Like if temperature in my body just goes up or down just a couple of degrees, I'm freaking out. Right? It goes up like 4 or 5 degrees. They'll take me to the hospital. So and stick all kinds of tubes and things in me. So it's a well-regulated heat. Heat is there. There's also, I have to breathe, right? I'm constantly breathing. So if the air is gone, I cannot survive. If you shut off air, I'm gone in no time at all. And there is also space inside. You say, oh, is that different? What we call akasha. Not just space, but space filled with energy. Because inside my body, even at a micro scale, there is energy. In every single cell, there is energy. Yeah. So space filled with energy is what we call akasha. Then I need the wind, air, whatever you want to call it, right? So that's two, right? And these two are not visible, by the way. Those two things are not visible. Then I have two things that are visible, which is the matter and the liquid. Like you can say mud and water, clay and water. The thing in the middle, this thing, the heat part, it could be visible, it need not be visible. It's sort of like sitting on the fence, right? For example, if you take the old type bulb, right? In that there's a filament. The way we got light was you pass electricity and it literally burns. And so it glows. When it glows, it puts out light, right? So here, this body, this physical body that is made up of these five elements is represented symbolically by this Diya. This is my physical body. Now, what do I fill it with? For example, I can take a Diya. I can fill it with water, put a wick and all that. You can try lighting it all you want. It doesn't light. And for us, in the Vedic thought, water represents a Rajasic mentality. There is Sat, Rajas and Tamas. Sattvic mentality is something that will take you upwards, elevates you. Rajasic is something that takes you horizontally in circles, enjoyment, whatever you want to call it. Tamasic is something that will take you downwards, right? Obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious, but hopefully, if you want the sattvic, something that will elevate us, not something that takes us in circles or something that will take us downwards, hopefully. This wick represents, like I said, the length. If it's very short, nothing much happens, right? But also, it should be able to go and sink in that oil, in that thing. Similarly, that the time span that I'm alive, I may live for 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, 100 years. But I don't think I can live for 1,000 years, right? So you cannot actually put a very big wick in this thing. This is true for every species, right? Like dogs, for example, live at best 14, 15 years, something like that. I mean, there's some exception, but roughly, right? Human beings, 80, 90, 100 years, maybe. So every species, or other words, every type of body has a certain amount of time span it can exist. So this is symbolic in a way because the Diya, the size of the Diya will dictate how long a wick you can have. Now, not all wicks are created equal, right? So you may have somebody living a little longer, a little less and so on. But let's not worry about those subtle details. The fact is that it is something that is proportional to the container. Point number one. There are many types of containers, but this Diya is something special. Why it is special? This is why it's special. That pointy end. So, the Diya itself, the physical clay object, represents my physical body. But for it to be suitable for putting out light, that water component through heat has to go away. Which means that the heat, so all the difficulties I have in life, the struggles that I go through and all that, what all that do, you can think of that as heat. What that will do, it is will get rid of this Rajasic mentality. Right? So what is left is something hard and nice. So now, with all this Rajasic mentality gone, I'm actually capable, or eligible or capable of actually having the light, having jnana inside. Hopefully. I'm not there yet, but it's eligible. Right? So now what happens? What is the difference between, say, a cat, a dog, or a human being? Well, in terms of this container, actually what happens is that just like this Diya has this pointy edge, we as humans, we have the ability of actually able to do something for what is outside. That is shedding light outside. Not just inside, but outside. Right? So the things that I do can actually create knowledge, energy, good energy, knowledge. By the way, lamp doesn't give just light, right? It gives light, of course, but it also puts out heat. So it gives energy too. So we all can create good knowledge, good energy and so on for the outside world, right? But in order for me to be able to do it, for me to be able to do that, these are the prerequisites. That is, in the first place, this body should not crave for Rajasic things, right? So if I'm only catering to quote unquote enjoyment, right? And that's all I'm interested in. Then it's like having this clay thing with water in it. So I have to get rid of that first, right? This wick represents the length of time for which I exist, right? And now you have to pour oil into that thing, or ghee. This represents the actual feelings I have, with what thoughts am I actually doing all these things? Just to create some good energy and good knowledge in society, even this talk that we are doing. Or do I have some other selfish motive? I want to make money, or I want to be famous, or some thing that other people actually don't care. Like, I don't think anybody cares whether I have money or not. I don't think anybody cares whether I'm famous or not. It's irrelevant. It's actually irrelevant. It's important only for me. That's not for other people. But what do other people care about? They do care about what energy I bring to them, what feelings I bring to them, what kind of service I bring to them, and so on, right? So first we have to fill that thing with something which is capable of, like I said, you pour water, it won't light up. So it should be something that has the ability to create a light. So I need to fill myself with those thoughts, those motives, those intentions that can actually capable of creating a lamp, creating a light, creating good energy. If I do that, even then, in Deepavali, what we do is the person comes, like in my house, I may do that. I may go and light the lamp, and one lamp will light another lamp. From one lamp, you light another lamp. So in society, each one of these, like as a society, as a group of people, one person that is actually shedding good light and energy can go and light another light in another person in society. So if in society, if we have a series of or a collection of these people that are shedding good energy and light, then actually there will be no darkness, no ignorance, no negativity, and so on. So in an ideal situation, every single one of these things is ideal. We'll never reach that. It's impossible to reach that. I always say that destination is something different from a goal, right? Goal is something you go towards. Destination is something you reach, right? So for us, this whole concept of every single human being with his fantastic feelings, capable of putting out good energy and good knowledge and all that in society, that is the goal. Just because you cannot reach that is not a good enough reason to stop, right? Because that's our goal. We just go towards that. So when you go towards that, you've already reached your destination, because your destination is to go on that path. That's all. So you've already reached it. The moment you stop, you're not at the destination. As long as you keep going, you reach the destination. So all through life, as long as this wick burns, I need to keep pushing that wick a little bit. And notice that the light is actually outside the diya. That's very important, very, very important, because whatever we do, if it doesn't create something in the universe outside, what's the point? With the lamp is, if you have a covered thing and there's a lamp inside, it won't even burn, because you don't get oxygen, right? It will go off. So the important thing is that we have to create this good energy, good thoughts, good knowledge, everything. Where? In the universe around us. Now, can one lamp light all of North Carolina? No, it cannot. But at least in my own house, in my own neighborhood, in my own little surroundings, in my own little universe, if I do this, then the whole nation, the whole country, the whole planet will be lit up. Last year, at the time of Diwali, when some satellite was passing, goes around the earth, right? So I took a picture of the Indian subcontinent on Diwali day. The whole place was just lit up. It just lit up. So I saw this comparative thing, like on a normal day, what it looks like, and on Diwali night, what it looks like. The whole country was lit up because this billions and billions of lamps were lit all over the place. So this is not just physical. It's not good enough for us to light a lamp and, share some sweets. On Diwali, we go give sweets to our friends, neighbors, everybody. Yeah, you can do all that. That celebration is nice. It's very nice, and we should do all those things. But all of that is no use. Like, Diwali is over, next day what happens? You go back to your life. Doing the same crap, whatever you're doing. No, we cannot do that. We cannot do that. This is a festival which reminds us of how to live. How to live. What thoughts and emotions should we fill ourselves with? And also the fact that the neighbors or friends, relatives, the people we come across with, we should be a source of light, a source of energy, source of good knowledge. and we light that in that person, and that person will go light somebody else. That is when it's not just a Deepa, but it becomes a Deepavali, a series of lamps. Symbolically, Deepavali, I think, is one of the most profound festivals in the Sanatana Dharma, if you want to call it that, or the Indic way of life, or the Vedic way of life. It's a very profound statement. And I think that if we pay attention to that, right? If we pay close attention to that, and not just lighting that lamp, but actually trying to do that. Today is not Deepavali. Actually, like I said at the beginning, we are sitting here doing this recording during Navratri. But what we are doing together is actually lighting one lamp. That's actually what we are doing. It's not about money, it's not about fame, it's not about anything. It's just lighting one little lamp. So we need to do that every day, not just on Deepavali. Every single day, all through life, as long as that wick is still burning, right? As long as that I'm still alive, as long as I have that eyes, that length of time, I need to keep doing this and to keep on doing this. If all of us do that, that's why I said that's the ideal state. And I mean, it may not happen, that's fine. No need to feel bad about it. Because at least in my hand, I have control, right? I can do one thing. I can make this video. I can put it out there. Somebody may listen. Somebody may get inspired, and somebody may spread this knowledge, or that. You don't know. So we can only light the next lamp. And that lamp hopefully will light the next lamp, and so on. So I'm hoping that this video will actually come online during Deepavali, maybe. We'll see. But even if it comes earlier, I do wish all of you a very, very happy Deepavali. And let's hope that in this whole universe, when there is knowledge and there's good energy, there'll be less of suffering in all different ways. So I wish you all a very, very happy Deepavali.